What is going on, people of the internet? Hyperchaotic here with the KRR, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time visiting my channel. And welcome back to PUBG on Difficulty Tweak, where I go back to play the games I recently played on each individual difficulty if they have difficulties. If not, we experiment in other ways. However, PUBG has a versus AI mode, which I'm going to try out, and it does have set difficulties. Easy, normal, hard, no descriptions on the difficulties, so we're not going to know how it affects the gameplay until we try it out. It could make the bots, have more damage output, less. Maybe they take more or less damage. Maybe you take more or less damage. Maybe sometimes they have higher tier weapons. If you're on the harder difficulties, lower tier weapons for the lower difficulties. Who knows? We're going to see as we go along with this, and this will be a regular playthrough this time around. Now, I cannot go in solo. I have to go in with the team. There is no other option for that. For 14 player only. So hopefully, as I stick with my team, they'll stick together as well. If everybody fucks off and goes off and does their own thing right off the bat, then that's how this entire playthrough will go. We'll basically consider this the versus AI solo difficulty tweak. Even though we can only go in with 3 other players, if everybody fucks off and does their own thing, it'll most likely be labeled in title and thumbnail the solo difficulty tweak. And then in the next video, I'll do another difficulty tweak where I'm going to try to stick with my team even if they don't want to stick with me and fuck off and do their own thing. But nonetheless, I'm hoping that if right off the bat they do play as a team, this doesn't continue to happen in the next following matches with the other difficulties, because I might not get the same players. But whatever happens right off the bat with the first match, that's what I have to go with. If everybody fucks off, we're all solo, then it's all going to be solo, even if the following guys are playing as a team, unfortunately. If we all play as a team, I'm going to try to stick with everybody as a team, even if the next following matches they fuck off and do their own thing. But let's see what happens. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and I have my fingers crossed. Now, of course, on Difficulty Tweak, we see if the difficulties are fair and fun, or complete and utter BS. And in the case of easy modes, because we do try out the easy modes here, we see if they're a decent set of training wheels. We see how it's going to try to push us as if we were brand new to the game or brand new to video games in general. If you do not care for a specific difficulty, timestamps will be in the description down below. And if you want to see some full unedited, no commentary gameplay of this, hop on over to my second channel, Be Quiet Cutscene. Link in the description down below for no commentary playthroughs and video game preservation. But we prioritize video game preservation first and foremost. And of course, difficulty timestamps will always be on the no commentary gameplay as well. Anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Hey guys, after the HK here. Yeah, this was supposed to be a regular playthrough, but unfortunately in the process of recording, my freaking screen recorder bugged out and I lost the original footage. The audio recording was fine. It was literally just the game footage in of itself that failed to record. And honestly, at that point, I was just no longer in a mood to give any commentary, so I said fuck it and just got the gameplay, and I'm adding it now. It doesn't happen too often, but when my screen recorder does bug out, it is infuriating because I barely ever get time to record just because I don't have much quiet time living in a full house. And it's a whole nother thing when my equipment just decides to malfunction for... I can't even find a reason for why it bugs out. It's gotta be software related. Anyways, enough of that. How were the difficulties? Well, I gotta be honest, it's hard to really get an idea how they were, because it they really felt kind of all this. They felt all the same, really. I think there were some significant differences that I did notice when it came to players slash NPCs coming up to me for a fight. But other than that, it doesn't really seem like it affected the gameplay that much from the difficulty. Anyways, before we go on that whole shtick, I gotta start off by saying I actually ended up in a solo match because I thought it was with the team only, but it turns out I actually had no auto matchmaking off, and if that's turned off when you go into versus AI, it will put you in solo. But there will still be a mix of other players in the lobby, and they could still be on teams themselves, as well as the bots also having their own teammates. Now, that right there is, I think, one of the things, or two of the things really, that I think the difficulties really affect is whether or not you're going to get more bots that are on teams versus like just solo, and whether or not maybe you get more players than bots, which is, it's versus AI, so it's going to still be mostly bots. But since it does mix in some regular players, even when you're by yourself in the mix, or at least that's what it seems like. I even still saw some actual gamer tags. I could only assume by increasing the difficulty, you get a bit more players than you would in the previous difficulties, but it's still going to mostly be bots. And of course, it's still a gamble whether or not they're on a team. Now, I think that's most likely the thing the difficulty is affecting, because I really tried to pay attention to the behavior of whatever enemy came up to me. That way I can tell whether or not it was a bot or a player. And a good portion of them definitely felt like bots when I was on easy mode, though it was hard to tell when I was going up against a group because, well, I'm too focused on trying to take out that group. When it's a single individual, it's a little bit easier to tell because I could just focus on that individual and be like, from their behavior, they definitely seem like a bot or a player. There was also the outfit. The more goofier it looked, a higher chance it was definitely a player. So I guess you can consider the player's choice of avatar fashion may also contribute to their behavior in identifying bot from player. And yeah, I think that's one of the primary things that you get from the difficulties is whether or not bots are more likely to be on teams and whether or not you might have an increase of players in the mix. Also, I noticed that bots definitely became more accurate on the higher difficulties, so I think it's also affecting their accuracy. Like, in the previous match that I failed to record, I did have a bot that was standing right in front of me, failing to get some of their shots off on me. And I wasn't moving, I wasn't strafing, I was literally standing perfectly still on purpose just so I can see how inaccurate or dumb the bot was. Or if it was a bot at all. Was a bot. Very dumb. Missed all the shots. Well, exaggerating. Missed like, I want to say 70% of the shots point blank. Though barely did any damage to my armor or my health. Some damage, but not enough to really do some serious damage. Now, one of the ways I tried to identify whether or not the difficulty was affecting the amount of bots around a team was by observing how the bots reacted when another, I guess, player, bot, avatar, whatever you want to call it, showed up. Did they start fighting? Yes. Well, there's a good chance that there's more bots not on a team. Are they not engaging with the other people around them? Well, they're probably on their team. And for some reason, every time I hopped into a match, people kept flocking to the region I was. I think when you play with bots, they're purposely going to try to go to the region you're in just so you get some action, which is, let's just say the amount of action I was getting in these versus AI matches is nowhere near the amount of action you will get in an actual PUBG match. In fact, I would say you get less action in an actual match with real people than you would in versus AI. You're probably going to get way more action in versus AI because everybody's trying to flock to you, or at least all the bots are trying to flock to you, and the other players are trying to flock to the bots and, of course, get into the circle. Nonetheless, as the harder difficulties progressed, I noticed that more and more people would show up and they wouldn't be engaging with each other too much. So definitely an increase in teams on the harder difficulty from what it seemed like from my experience than when you're on the lower difficulty, where it will be some more single player, well, players and bots, and you're going to see more engagement between them if you choose to stay back and let them take each other out. With how quickly you can be overwhelmed is one of the best decisions you can make. Let a good portion of them pick each other off. If they start flocking to one region, then pick your head out and pick off whoever's left. Why am I need to see a fucking speech therapist, dude. I need to see a fucking speech therapist again. Though, honestly, I don't even know if my insurance will cover that. Some days I listen to myself speak and I honestly think I need to take speech therapy again. By the way, if you're new to me, I have mentioned this in previous videos, but I do have a bit of a speech impediment. I did have to take speech therapy when I was a child. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But a quick summary, it's literally just like a form of physical therapy with your mouth so that person can learn to be able to speak properly. It could be neurological issues. It can be physical issues related to their muscles. But it's literally just physical practice of pronunciation of words, vowels, shaping your lips in a certain way. I remember sucking on a balloon a lot just so I could be able to make a proper oh sound with any words with an O in it. At least that's what I can recall, because I did take it when I was like a little kid, like back in kindergarten and first grade. Anyways, my personal speech issues aside, I will have to put a pin on that. I seriously don't know if my insurance is going to cover that. But yeah, I think the amount of players or bots on a team will be affected by the difficulty. I may have to confirm this by playing more matches, which I will do again. I'm going to do another difficulty tweak, and this one I'm going to do with a team. But if I'm still not 100% sure, then I'm just going to leave it as inconclusive. Because once you get crowded, the fights feel all the same no matter the difficulty. It feels just as difficult, just as challenging. And I gotta give credit where credit is due, assuming the difficulties do change anything. The easy mode in this versus AI mode is pretty challenging. Like, it's not easy streak. Whoever's new to the game, they're definitely gonna get pushed. And if you don't try or go around acting like a fool like I did in the beginning, just so I can test out the bot's behavior, you will die pretty quickly. On easy mode. You will die. It's actually pretty freaking challenging. Maybe that's not the case for experienced players. But again, remember, you got everybody flocking to the same fucking region. And it's not even before this is before the circle has shrunk into as small as possible. Literally, the circle's still big. There's all this open area. All of a sudden, everybody and their mother is coming to the exact same fucking spot you're in. I mean it when I say no matter how many matches you play of regular or ranked battle royale with actual people, you're not going to get the amount of action in a real match that you would in a match versus bots. And that's only because it's like you can't get the fuck away from them. In a live match, you keep running, eventually you're going to get away from the people chasing you. They're going to be like, fuck it, he's not worth it. Let me just go loot and I'll go on to the next motherfucker. In versus AI, it's like everybody got it out for you. I mean, they got it out for everybody else who's not in their team either. Team as well. My speech is all over the place. But I honestly don't feel like fucking re-recording this. I really don't. But yeah, since everybody, and I'm not sure if this is including the players, I think it's mostly the bots, but since they all just want to seem to flock towards you, the player, you're gonna get way more action because there are just way more people around you. Every other freaking corner, everywhere on the map, footsteps, shots, footsteps, shots. It's kind of disorienting. And I don't know whether or not to say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I would say it's neutral. It really depends on your personal preference, whether or not you prefer it with more action or less action than you would get in a live match. And again, it's really not going to be anything like a live match. The whole point of versus AI, this mode clearly exists just to train the newbies. But the newbies are going to play this and be like, damn, are motherfuckers going this hard in the actual matches? I think I'm good. Either that or you're going to create a lot of fucking sweats. Because, I'm sorry, the live matches are nowhere near as hard, or as I should say, balls to the fucking wall, as versus AI. Compared to live matches with real people, versus AI feels like the equivalent of hardcore. Like Battle Royale hardcore. Not ranked, like Battle Royale hardcore. Something like this mode, which is supposed to help the newbies, that's going to chase away the casuals and probably bring in a lot of new sweats. Like, what the fuck are y'all training them for? A whole another fucking tournament or some shit? You trying to get them to train for $1 million tournament? Because that's what it felt like playing this mode. And I know it sounds like I'm probably exaggerating. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. But I shit you not. Look at the gameplay in the background. Go see the unedited gameplay. You can see more footage when I get it. When I go on a team next time around. And play it for yourself. And tell me if this shit don't feel a little bit more hardcore. A bit more balls to the walls. Has a bit more action than a live match. Ranked or unranked. They just don't compare. Honestly, for me, it was a bit too much. It was a bit overwhelming. But that's just me. So I'm not going to say whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really think that just depends on your personal preference. Whether or not you will like the fact that versus AI has more action than a live match. I don't think it should be like that, but I mean, it's bot behavior versus player behavior. You're not going to get players to behave like the bots. Sure, sometimes players do act like fucking bots, but they don't truly behave like bots, especially in large quantities. Okay, the only time players are going to flock to that one fucking region is if it's a region with all the good shit, all the good equipment, or it's literally the finer circle that has shrunk to damn near nothing. If you go into the middle of bumfuck nowhere of the map where there's little to no resources and you're going to take what you can get because you're expecting nobody to be over there, well, that literally just that. You're not going to find many people over there because you're expecting nobody to be over there. Nobody's going to be over there because they're going to the area with all the good shit. So it's pretty fucking odd when I go to bumfuck nowhere to gather what I can from a cheaper spot, from a spot that doesn't have all the goodies, and all of a sudden everybody's flocking to that one region, and it's not even in the middle of the circle. It's literally outside of it. Like, what the fuck? It honestly feels like they designed it that way just so the player will get some action in versus AI. Because otherwise, if it was truly random whether or not you ran into somebody like a live match, well, you can easily go through the whole match and never shoot a single bullet. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to practice your stealth, I think that should be allowed. But it's going to be harder to do that when anywhere you go, everybody's going to be flocking towards you. No matter where you go, there's just bullets and footsteps all around. Like, why the fuck is everybody spawning on me? That's what it felt like. But yeah, I really feel like this was done on purpose because if you just go through a whole match without shooting a single bullet in complete stealth mode, that doesn't really train you for anything other than how to hide. Which again, when it comes to a battle royale, that's not inherently a bad thing when it comes to trying to get the dove. but it doesn't actually train you for a fight in this game, is what I'm trying to get at. And I think they programmed versus AI in this way where everybody just happens to flock to you around your region no matter what. That way you have increased chances of getting into fights and you can actually practice your gunfights more. In hindsight, it kind of makes sense. I think that would make more sense if they saved that for the harder difficulties. I don't need that on the easy mode. I don't want easy mode to be too ridiculously easy to the point where it's literally suck on a nipple bubble baby mode type shit. But at the same time, it shouldn't be so difficult where it feels like easy should be normal, normal should be hard, hard should be I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. Easy should be easy in comparison to an experienced player, but an inexperienced player should be pushed a bit. I feel like this easy mode pushes a little bit too much. But it's only because it seems like they didn't properly balance this whole flocking mechanic that they put into versus AI, assuming it exists. I'm really making an assumption here based on a theory from my experience. But I don't really have much of a way to really confirm or deny this other than I had a little bit too much action in a bot match, a literal bot match versus a live match. It's kind of crazy to think. That's just something I found odd when playing this. Not a bad thing, just something I found interesting. And whether or not you think it's good or bad that you get more action in the versus mode, the versus AI mode versus a live match, really depends on your personal preference. Anyways, that's all I really have for you guys today. If you ended up enjoying this video, even from my freaking messy speech, I am dead ass serious. I'm going to try to look into taking speech therapy again. I probably fucking need it. Anyways, leave a like if you did enjoy. If not, leave a dislike and a comment telling me why. Because any interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm. And any criticism can help me get better. And making videos, not the game. And of course, subscribe to add a little dose of chaos in your life. If not, please do leave your dislikes because your dislikes do matter. And I appreciate your time even if you didn't enjoy it. HK out. If, once again, you want to see the full gameplay and enjoy it without the commentary, Be Quiet Hunting, hopping over to the second no commentary channel. Preservation will always be the primary objective for that channel. But if you ever want to enjoy a video without the commentary, I will always have the gameplay there. HK out and have a good one.